y'all, it's Kim. So tomorrow, I guess, is when they vote for the New York mayor. And of course, you got Curtis Lewa, who is part of the, I think, the Guardian Angels for like since like 1978, like the year I was born. And then you have obviously Andrew Cuomo, and you've got Zohran Mamdami. And I'm just like, what is New York thinking? But I know it's probably somebody bankrolled the guy just to basically install him like they do all these other left wing lunatic type progressive, whatever you want to call them, just to try to change America, because that was what Obama had talked about years ago. I mean, if you're old enough to remember, and if you're also old enough to remember what happened with 9/11, just saying. I mean, this is crazy. It says Zohran Mamdami openly proclaiming that he will turn New York into an Islamic state. So let's see. I know this is probably an old video, but still, it's worth looking back at these things.
We came here to remake this state in the image of our people. We came here to remake this state in the image of our people.
In the image of their people. Hold on. It just keeps playing over. Okay, it says Andrew Cuomo deserves prison for what he did during COVID, putting all those older people, and I'm sure there was other things too. And then it says Zohran Mamdami deserves deportation, and Curtis Lewa deserves respect. New Yorkers deserve what they get if they're not fully supporting Curtis Lewa for mayor. That's just common sense, which doesn't seem to be common in NYC. Let's see what they have to say here. Let me pause this. I don't like it when it just keeps playing. Let's go back. Get some volume on this. Let's see what they have to say.
Candidate in the Democratic primary for him to set foot in a mosque. He had more than 10 years, and he couldn't name a single mosque at the last debate we had that he visited. And what Muslims want in this city is what every community wants and deserves. They want equality, and they want respect. And it took me to get you to even see those Muslims as part of this city. And that, frankly, is something that is shameful and is why so many New Yorkers have lost faith in this politics.
Yeah, except that's totally false. I worked with the Muslim community for many years.
Name a single mosque you went to when you were the governor. Can you name a single mosque you went to in 10 years?
You were ever here. They were
before I was here.
Before you were even in the state government. I worked with the Muslim community. Yeah. Imams presided over state of the states. We worked in religious working groups, tolerance groups, anti-Semitic groups, etc.
All right, gentlemen.
Yeah, that guy's just like a snake. I don't trust him. I don't trust any of these people. I'm not from there, so it doesn't really matter to me. But I know if New York does a certain thing, then other states are going to eventually follow along. And I don't see why we have people that are foreign born in any government positions at this point, to be honest with you. Their loyalties are not for America. But let's see. Zohran Mamdami is a pathological liar. He made up a story about his aunts facing Islamophobia, got called out for his lie and changed it to a cousin, probably a lie as well. He cannot win. Wake up, New York. And this is justice for Malky Roth or something. I don't know these people. I'm just going through the videos. But let's see what he has to say here.
I was speaking about my aunt. I was speaking about Zohran, my father's cousin, sadly passed away a few years ago. And for the takeaway from my more than 10-minute address about Islamophobia in this race and in this city, the question of my aunt tells you everything about Andrew Cuomo and his inability to reckon with a crisis of his own making. Yes, that's...
So he got caught in a lie, and then now he's saying that people are Islamophobic. I guess you could say we should be Islamophobic, because if you've got people that would be willing to fly planes into buildings and do Sharia law and everything else and the things that you see some of them doing, there's reasons for it. Yeah, because when they come in, they don't try to assimilate. They want to dominate and take over. It says it's always the men with the overly fake smiles and positivity who secretly have anger management issues. Zohran K. Mamdami is angry, combative, and hates law enforcement. who risked their lives to keep New Yorkers safe. New Yorkers, see the real you, Zoran. You can't fool us. So I guess he's screaming at a police officer here. I don't know the context. It would have been nice to have the video, but okay. It says WTF. Communist Zoran Mamdami says that police and prisons don't make us safer. His solution, he wants to gut the police force and release criminals back onto the streets. Is that a safe idea? Is that a smart idea? I don't think so. NYC, is this who you want in charge of your safety? I mean, if I lived in New York, I would flee like my butt was on fire.
The way that prisons are set up in our society, I would argue that they do not work. They do not make us safer. The instinct is to just take that person, the source of that harm, the source of that issue, and then just throw them away. Put them in a cage and throw away the key. That doesn't address the reason why that harm was created in the first place. A lot of times, people who create trauma for others are those who themselves went through trauma earlier in their own lives. Right.
That's not an excuse. You don't just let them out just to keep running around like the girl that was killed in North Carolina. She got her throat slashed by the guy that had been arrested 50-something or 40-something times. Are you kidding me? You don't just let them release back into society. No, absolutely not. That is a dangerous ideology. That's just freaking stupid.
All this up to say that, again, like when we talk about policing, I don't think the system actually makes us safer. I think what it does is it just removes problems out of view. It just, the way that prisons are set up.
This is like stupidity. And I'm sure he came from a place that, what the freaking hell? I'm sure he came from a place that was super dangerous, Uganda. I mean, duh. It says heartbreaking. Zohran Mamdami found alive in his home at age 34. Oh boy, what the hell is that? No, I don't want anybody to be harmed. I just don't want some of these people in office. That's my only thing. I'm not one of these idiots that goes around saying all that stuff. So Zohran Mamdami, free buses for all in NYC. With the money sent to Israel, the U.S. could have good public transportation for everyone, good public health services, and decent free education for all. But it's better to blow up children in Palestine. Okay, that's the federal government taking care of that stuff.
But the question is how you'll make them free.
We will fund the revenue that would have otherwise been brought in from fares. And that's something that we would do in partnership with Albany. And I've put forward two proposals. The first is to raise taxes on the top 1% of New Yorkers by 2%. That would raise $4 billion. The second is to raise the state's top corporate tax rate to match that of New Jersey, which would raise $5 billion.
But the question is how you'll make them free.
Gosh.
We will fund the revenue that would have otherwise been brought in from.
So we pay more taxes. We're already paying about 50% if you own a home and everything else. It says time to elect Zohran Mamdami the next New York mayor. Okay, I don't think so. Let's see. This is Michael Rappaport. It says I'm making my official announcement. The mayoral candidate of NYC, Zohran Mamdami, has officially been renamed DKC Stain. I don't know what that is. Zohran Mamdami. This guy's kind of a nut. So he wants to go with Cuomo. Let's see.
Zohran the moron, aka Zohran the zero, aka the asshole of Astoria, aka Dick Stain Zohran Mamdami. And yes, I own the rights, the copyrights, the patent for all things Dick Stain. So if I want to call Zohran Mamdami Dick Stain Zohran Mamdami, he's now officially Dick Stain Zohran Mamdami. You're acting like you're already the mayor, Duke. You ain't won shit. You haven't won shit. And I feel a comeback coming. A true blue classic New York comeback. So you ain't from New York. Okay, you don't know about the heart, the grit,
I mean, I hope New York doesn't vote him in. I just don't think he's the right guy. I think y'all are fixing to walk into something that you can't get out of. All this so-called free stuff means you're going to lose freedom, and also you're going to be paying more in taxes. Don't use suicidal empathy just to fund this guy's utopian dream, because it's never going to work. the federal government's probably not going to have the money because we're already spending so much damn money on all these other stupid projects. Yeah, I mean, I just don't think he's going to get all this stuff done, and then y'all are going to be stuck with this socialist communist dude.
Of New Yorkers, you ain't from here. You might live here, you might got residence here, but it's not in your blood. You don't walk like us. You don't talk like us. You don't think like us. New York, this motherfucker thinks he's our mayor. We got 3 weeks to go. We got 3 weeks to activate.
Actually, you know, at this point, you got 1 day to go to make the right choice. That was October 10th. Yeah, this guy.
Fucking smile off your face come November 4th. Dick stain, Zohran Mamdami.
Okay, let's see. So breaking, I just discovered that Zohran's father, Mahmoud Mamdami, helped create a North Korea Friendship Society as an anti-government front group in Uganda. The group maintained embassy ties with the North Koreans, received Juke. I don't know how you say that. Let's see how the heck you pronounce that. Juche, I don't know. Literature, Juche. Let's see. Juche. What does that mean? It's a political ideology in contemporary political discourse in North Korea. Juche has a connotation of self-reliance, autonomy, and independence, which that doesn't make sense if you're a communist, because then you don't have independence. Yeah, just saying. Okay, yeah, you're relying on the government for everything to make sure you have what you need. So that doesn't make sense. But okay, we'll just go with that. Self-reliance, human-centered philosophy, no. Role of the leader, no. A personality cult. Those are some of the things it says. Let's see here. Let's see what this says. Just hang on. Why is it being a pain? Okay. So let me see here. It won't let me go all the way up. It says one of the ways in which anti-government forces organized and recruited Uganda youth was through the Uganda North Korea Friendship Society. Mahmoud Mamdami, a former anti-government dissident in Uganda and a current professor of African studies at Columbia University, had helped to found the Friendship Society in 1981 as one of the few legal ways to reach out to young people in an increasingly oppressive and difficult environment. In an interview, Mamdami said the society had roughly 50 chapters of varying strength from 10 to 50 members, but members had very little idea of North Korea at the time, and most of the society's discussions revolved around the situation in Uganda, not Korea. Mamdami said they were embassy level interactions with the North Koreans limited to the provision of literature. The North Koreans made Juche, I don't know how you say that, literature available to the society. The North Koreans had no knowledge that their friendship society was being used as a space of resistance against the Obote governments, which they supported with arms and military training assistance. Mamdami explains North Koreans were woefully ignorant of the domestic situation in Uganda. They also had very little idea of the actual work of the society since it happened in individual chapters throughout the country. Mamdami stated North Korea did not support any kind of struggle against Obote. Their support was limited to a general expression of anti-imperialism. There was no question of training or arms, and this was a group limited to study and economic activity. Okay. Yeah. That's weird. So we already looked at that. So Zohran Mamdami is leading the polls to be mayor. of NYC. It says he has defined himself as a Democrat socialist, free buses, free frozen housing, fight oligarchy. Nothing really new. All this was called Kirchnerism in Latin America, the same policies that during a decade broke Argentina economy. Yeah, fight oligarchy, Bernie Sanders. Don't be naive. At this very moment, there are 50 more Zoran Mamdamis being groomed to take positions of power in America. I do not doubt that. It says Mamdami isn't a one-off by any means. He's one of many more to come. The Muslim invasion of America is well underway, and they have to be put down. I don't know what the put down is, but just like don't vote for these people. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying take them out, like just get them out of the United States. So Zohran Mamdami, these are his policy positions. It says wants to defund the police, abolish the prison system, prohibit state-operated hospitals from suing for medical debt, universal health care, ban all guns, decriminalize sex work. That sounds like a great plan. What about this one? Safe injection sites? Really? We're going to just encourage them to keep using the drugs? I've lived in a household where there were drugs like that, and it was needles. That's disgusting. In cash bail, decriminalize drug possession in cooperation with ICE. And you want this? It says New York Post. Mamdami says white neighborhoods should pay higher property taxes. The price is white. Inside Bezos Star studied. Oh, okay, that has nothing to do with that. And then he was on page 4 to 5. So Zohran Mamdami announced the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and blames the gun. Liberal Democrats are always responsible for the shootings and violence, and they are the party of violence. Let's see what he had to say here.
Charlie Kirk is dead, yet another victim of gun violence in a nation where what should be a rarity has turned into a plague. And the fact that there are families feeling that same anguish right now in Colorado as they wait for their children, also shot at us, to emerge from surgery, is the same anguish.
He's reading
too
that.
Many across our city and our nation.
He keeps looking down.
With silence every day as we contend with an epidemic of suffering. We can and must do more to challenge the status quo that has allowed this pain to become routine. That has allowed the question of which mass shooting to respond to the news of one that is shared.
Yeah, he's not authentic. If he can't say something like that, even from the heart, yeah, that guy, yeah. What the heck? Oh, is this Zohran Mamdami supposed to be him as a kid or something? He's gonna rip off his clothes. If elected, Zohran Mamdami will choke out the prosperity of New York City's financial district. Yeah, I mean, throttling the country. That's kind of weird. It almost looks like an animal. Zohran Mamdami demonizing Jews. This is from November 1st. Let's see here. Addressing mayoral race, Rabbi Angelo Buchtal of Central Synagogue says Mamdami's 2023 remark that NYPD's boots are laced by the IDF. It crosses the line clearly into anti-Semitism. I fear living in a city where anti-Zionist rhetoric is normalized. And what else? Let's see. Oh, and contagious.
We arrive this week at Parshat Lech Lecha, the beginning of the Jewish story. God calls Abraham and Sarah to leave their home and comfort for a place they do not know, promising, "You shall be a blessing." But before we think of the grandeur of that destiny, imagine the uncertainty, the feeling of being strangers in unknown territory. Many of you have shared that this is how you feel right now, that this is an existential moment for our Jewish community. Some fear that in the most Jewish city in the world, we are becoming strangers once again. I share many of those fears. I fear living in a city and a nation where anti-Zionist rhetoric is normalized and contagious, where Israel is singularly and repeatedly called out and demonized as the worst actor on the world stage, where our children feel ashamed to call themselves Zionists, or afraid to wear Jewish symbols, or worry they can only belong if they are the good kind of Jew. I'm terrified by how anti-Zionist rhetoric and anti-Semitic tropes have led to some deadly violence against Jews. Mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdami has contributed to a mainstreaming of some of the most abhorrent anti-Semitism. His shocking 2023 accusation, when the boot of the NYPD is on your neck, it's been laced by the IDF. This crosses the line clearly into anti-Semitism.
What does that have to do with New York City? I mean, I don't know.
Not only demonizing Israelis, but echoing the age-old anti-Semitic trope that Jews across the world are the root cause of our problem here.
That's so weird.
His false claims of genocide, his reluctance to label Hamas a terrorist organization, his unwillingness to condemn phrases like globalized intifada and absolute opposition to Israel as a Jewish state contributes to an atmosphere of denigration and ostracization of Jewish people everywhere. In addition to dangerous rhetoric, his pledge to shut down the NYPD's Strategic Response Group, which broke up the violent protests at Columbia, could mean that when Jews are under attack, we may not feel protected. It is hard not to fear that the environment we witnessed for our Jewish children on Columbia's campus after October 7th could be a preview of the way that New York City could start feeling for all Jews. For so many in this community, this is reason enough to determine your vote unequivocally.
Yeah, that's pretty scary. I mean, to think that you have a mayor that, yeah, that is supporting a lot of these weird ideas. Okay, let's see what this has to say. Base Jew, November 1st. Please stop with the crossing the line discourse. Anti-Zionism is a hate movement. Jews keep thinking anti-Zionism is only hate when it crosses the line into classical anti-Semitism. No, anti-Zionism is hate all by itself. We are in the anti-Zionist era now. We must update our language accordingly. Oh boy. So this says the phylogenetic tree of anti-Jewish hate, anti-Judaism, Christ killers, ritual child murderers, Talmudic devils, anti-Semitism, race polluters, parasites, disloyal infiltrators, anti-Zionism, evil white colonizers, genocide apologists, Zionazis, what? Zionazis? What the hell is that? 1916 USSR and MENA, 1879 in Germany, and then 3rd century BCE ancient Rome. Huh. That's kind of weird. What was this? Odigo says workers were warned of attack. That has nothing to do with Zohran, but leading rabbi says she would not hire rabbinical students who sign letter critical of Israel. Okay. Let's see. Is this the guy? Okay. Don't be a sucker, NYC. This guy is playing you hard. This is what anti-Zionism is. It corrupts every single thing it touches. Now, look, I'm not here to say much about Israel and all that stuff. I don't support all this foreign aid to all these different countries and whatever they've got going on over there. I don't trust any other country. It's hard to even trust this one. So let's see what this is here. Let me freaking find it. All right, let's see what this is.
I posted this a couple of weeks ago as part of a series on how New York City Jews voting for Mamdami might make it through the night. I thought it was funny. It's not that funny, because now, here we are, 3 days from the election, and this is what Zohran Mamdami is focusing on. Vowing to shut down Technion's New York campus over IDF ties. Because for him, it's a feature, not a bug. The way I see it, New York, you have 48 hours to wake the fuck up. Because this guy is playing you like a bunch of suckers. And this is just the beginning from him. Guaranteed.
Yeah, I don't know. That's why I say I don't trust this guy at all. But, you know, I'm not sitting here like, oh, I'm just this Jew loving thing and blah, blah, blah. I'm not worried about all that stuff. This says this 90-year-old Jew says Zionism is a white supremacist ideology. Oh, Lord. Brainwash yourself. Let's see. To be clear, unequivocal, and on the record, I believe Zohran Mamdami poses a danger to the security of New York Jewish community. Mamdami's refusal to condemn, whatever. Nice to see you've posted about a Jew with common sense for a change. Let's see. Escalating series of provocations in New York City. What is this? Every Jew or truly enlightened New Yorker considering voting for Mamdami should understand that the subway scene below will become a daily occurrence if he's elected. Think very carefully before pulling the lever. Let's see what this is. Uh-oh.
Series of anti-Israel incidents around New York City, raising concerns and condemnation from top officials, including a disturbing scene caught on camera on the subway. Senior investigative correspondent Aaron Tursky joins us with more. Aaron, good morning.
And good morning to you. With this escalating series of provocations in the city has moved beyond protest and toward what the mayor here has called overt, unacceptable anti-Semitism. Mass protesters took over this New York City subway car and demanded riders identify themselves if they're Zionists.
Raise your hands if you're a Zionist! This is your chance to get out! No Zionists for good.
The train was held on the station. Officers in riot gear descended onto the platform.
They're asking for somebody to identify themselves against a mob, but how would you even know if you're a Zionist? I don't even know what that really means. I've never even looked it up. I just hear people shouting it almost like, oh, you're a racist. You're this, you're that. Maybe it's something to do with, I don't even know, Zionist meaning. A supporter of Zionism, a person who believes in the development and protection of a Jewish nation in what is now Israel. I mean, I don't really care one way or another. I mean, I don't want anybody to be hurt, but yeah, I just don't. I mean, I'm not somebody that's feel like, oh, like when people were changing their stuff to the freaking Ukraine flag and all that stuff. I don't jump on a bandwagon. I don't. I mean, I just don't even get too bogged down with all this stuff. I have certain beliefs, but this isn't one of them. But anyway, I just like at this point, I think that this Zohran dude is very dangerous. I don't think that he's going to be good for New York, but if y'all want to play around and see what happens, you know, I guess you're gonna have to hit rock bottom before you realize it. Let's see what this says. It would have been helpful had this been said before early voting opened. Oh, Mamdami was spewing much of the rhetoric spoken about in her sermon, like Schumer's late vote against Obama's Iran deal. These remarks are too little too late. So people have already cast their vote. This is, yeah. I don't know. I'm just like seeing bad things coming for New York, but I guess this is where it is. It says Zohran Mamdami is almost too good with the accents. Oh, let's see. I don't know if this is AI.
Yes, he will raise our
wolves and even kill us. But at least you'll sleep good knowing that you're not a racist Islamophobic bigot, right?
Yo, nigga, vote for Zohran. Free welfare.
Free bus rides, loot what you want when you want.
And cap all the white motherfuckers you want. Shit.
Oh, girl, you just got the vote for Zohran Mamdami. Gay pride parades every day, free hormones and puberty blockers for kids, and mandatory pronouns and drag shows in all schools. Go, girl. What's wrong with you? Oh, Mamdami. Well, yeah, he's a goat fucker, but we paid him off, so he will make the Goyim's lives hell and leave us alone.
What the heck? That was terrible. Where's that? There was a video of him. I saw it earlier, and he was supposed to have been at like a gay bar. But I guess just basically what do you call that? Pandering. Yes, exactly. It says, wake up, NYC. Mamdami is the Trojan horse. Totalitarianism always knocks on the door disguised as liberation. That's exactly what NYC mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdami represents, a dangerous fusion of socialism and Islamism that Iranians like me have seen destroy our homeland. I'm not going to read all that. Let's see what she has to say. This is from October 24th to 2025. So let's see. This will probably be the last clip.
The fact that nobody seems to know what Mamdani actually said, and so he gets away with saying stuff like this.
I have never, not once, spoken in support of global jihad.
He has actually plainly confessed his support for global jihad in the 2008 landmark case, US versus the Holy Land 5. 5 people were convicted of providing material support to Hamas by way of millions and millions and millions of dollars in violation of federal law while disguising it behind charity. Those 5 people were sentenced to 65 years in a federal correctional facility. They were called the Holy Land 5. In 2017, under the pseudonym Mr. Cardamom, Mamdani himself drops a rap song in which he states, "My love to the Holy Land 5. Okay? My love to the people who funneled millions to Hamas. You better look them up." Now, I know you're thinking maybe his views have changed. It's been several years. His views have not changed. When he was recently asked, do you think that Hamas should lay down its weapons? That's it. His answer was that he had no opinion. When you have openly supported the funneling of millions of dollars to Hamas, and since then they have committed a massacre that killed 1,200 Israelis and have shot and killed Palestinians at point blank range, and you now have no opinion on whether they should disarm, that's another way of saying, I support the terrorists. And that couldn't be clearer. You know what worries me as an Iranian? The fact that this is the exact path that led to the revolution in Iran. It was this exact marriage of socialism and Islamism that we are now seeing people fall for again here. That also started by dividing society into oppressed and oppressor.
Oh, gosh.
Mustakbirin and mustasafin. And the oppressor was, guess who? The elite, the wealthy, the ruling class that had to be eliminated for justice and utopia to prevail. Guess what were all of the promises made by Khomeini? Free transportation, free electricity, free water. Nobody should go unhoused. The same utopian false promises that have led to death, destruction, devastation, gulags, labor camps, everywhere that it's touched. How do we know that this is identical to every other iteration in human history? Because what ends in totalitarianism starts at its core. And what is at the core of totalitarianism? It's absolutism. What is absolutism? It is a binary. What is a binary? Oppressed and oppressor. What does that lead to? It leads to dehumanizing everybody on the wrong side of the binary. What does that lead to? Calling for the elimination of the oppressor. What have we been celebrating for the past few years in the United States? The elimination of the oppressor. That is how we are walking the path to totalitarianism, and we literally cannot see it. Do you know why we can't see it? Because do you think totalitarianism introduces itself as such?
Of course not.
Of course it doesn't. When it
comes
knocks
in
on
with a smile.
your door, it calls itself liberation.
Mm.
The fact that
She's not wrong. But anyway, do whatever you're going to do. Vote however you want to vote. But I don't think the guy is safe. And New York is about to find out some really hard lessons once this guy gets in there and starts making all these dumbass decisions. But okay, cool. Y'all have a good one. Talk to you later. Bye.